There he is. Curtis Moore is an alumnus at the Community Education Centers. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
You were here to tell your story?
Yes.
To motivate others. You mind if I tell a little bit about you?
Sure, problem.
Okay. You are a writer. You're a motivator. You're a former gang member.
Well, former associate.
I apologize. Former associate. And you spent some time incarcerated.
Yes.
From the ages of?
18 to 32.
It's interesting. You came to us through our friend John Clancy at Community Education Centers. They're involved in alternatives, building alternatives to traditional incarceration situations. You spent all those years in prison. What were you doing when you were in prison?
Initially, when I first went in, just still had the same mentality, just, coming up in the streets of Newark, just going in, hanging with a lot of the friends that I knew from the streets.
Your friends in prison, were your friends from the outside?
Yes. So just hanging with them is basically like, I was still living the same type of lifestyle until I actually got in trouble inside of prison and was sent to the hole, to solitary confinement. And they had me in a segregation unit in a single cell for I was in there for 3 years by myself. So
3 years?
3 years. So just being in that cell alone, you had nothing but time to think. When you didn't have a TV, a radio, nothing. All you had was just books.
What'd you start reading?
I actually started reading about just different religions, about Herbert W. Armstrong, different psychology books about W.E.B. Du Bois, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, things of that nature. So
what'd you take from it?
That I was better than what I was settling for in life. That I basically was settling for my new life. When God didn't create me to settle for that. So
you're reading, you're realizing that you're better than you thought you were. You were an associate of some gangs going in. So what happens? What decision do you make? And at what point was that where you said, not only am I better, but I have something to offer other people?
Well, just being raised in Newark on with a mother on welfare, if 7 of us.
Where was your dad?
My dad was around, but he wasn't around. He was there, but he wasn't there. He was always there for me to call on him, but he wasn't in the same household with us. And he lived in a different state. So just hanging with the different friends, like the associates, and most of them, I would have 15 years. Most of them had 75 years. Some of them
75-year sentence.
Some had 150 years. Some had
obviously 45. For first-degree murder. For
first degree and other things. So I just realized that wasn't. God gave me an opportunity to walk out of here. So I knew I had. I prayed when I first got sentenced. I said, God, if you allow me the opportunity to walk out of here, I promise you I won't walk out of the same person I walked in as. And
so when you walk out, you decide you're going to do what for other people? Because you made a huge transition.
I was going to reach back because I realized just being an advocate counselor now.
And describe that, an advocate counselor where?
I'm a youth advocate counselor at the Urban League of Essex County. Thanks to my director, Banks, for giving me the opportunity, and Mr. Thomas and Mr. Kareem and Ms. Frazier.
Have you had a few mentors?
I actually had a lot of mentors.
People looked out for you, cared for you?
People looked out for me.
Good, I'm sorry.
It's just, people wanting to reach back and not just knowing how our generation is hurting. Our generation is the crime rate is not high because people was born to be murderers. People was born wanting to join gangs, but they're outside. Tupac Shakur once said, and I quote that, we don't share tears, we share blood. And our generation, the younger people they're hurting, but they're not shedding tears to emphasize their hurt. They're out there shedding blood.
Do they even know there's another option?
A lot of them don't.
Do they think the only option is a gang?
Some of them do. Some of them do.
What do you say?
That there's other options. That even though some people that are involved in the gang, it's a lot of people that's out there that are involved in the gang that's making a difference in the community. So it's like that when you're involved in the gang, that doesn't mean that you cut off from life. Like there's still room to grow. If there's always a tomorrow, there's always hope. And I like to tell my clients at my job that if you're prepared today, then you'll own your tomorrow. So while I was incarcerated, I realized that what I wanted in life wasn't what I was settling for. So I began to prepare myself. I actually dropped out of school in the 6th grade. So I couldn't read or write. But I taught myself while incarcerated how to read and write. And I ended up graduating as a salutatorian. So I started, and I said, you know what? And I started talking to other young people about my aspirations and goals in life, and they was inspired. So I said, let me write a book.
You know, it's interesting because you got this book, because you some of this at Harbor House, which is one of the community education facilities. And that had a big part of this too, right?
Yeah.
But the book, you're going to publish this book?
I'm in the works now trying to get it published.
You're going to publish it?
Yes.
And it's so interesting to me. I wonder, I'm trying to imagine what it's like, Curtis, when you are talking to younger, I imagine they're younger. How old are you right now?
I'm 33.
Younger men than you, even teenagers as well.
Yeah.
And they hear your story of those years in prison, and that you made a decision, and that there are other options. Do you know when you have the spark of some possibility that you can turn one of these, not that you can turn a kid around, but you have a shot? Do you know? Do you have a sense?
When they start asking questions. When they start asking questions and asking, well, what if I wanted to do this? Or what if I do this? Then I feel that that's where the spark is at. Like, you know what, let me just feed on that.
What do you do then?
I really, like my director, she would tell me that sometimes I come off as being emotional, but because I'm over passionate about it. Sometimes I work I go to work at 9, sometimes I get off at 9, sometimes I get off at 10.
Where's your passion come from?
Where my passion come from?
Where's it come from?
Being in that situation and not having nobody there like myself for me.
So what do you see your job as now?
Not just a role model, but as a voice for them, because a lot of people write our youth off, and they say that there's no hope for them, that they're in the gangs, they're in the street. But I'm a voice for them. Like I was one of them, and if I look at me now,
look at you now.
So I became a voice for my younger generation.
What does it feel like for you? I mean, you were just telling me you had a big speech just the other day. You know, you said you used the word nerve-wracking, right? You don't seem nervous at all to be on public television right now.
I think that's the initial feeling when you do, because I'm a motivational speaker as well. So I think every time before I do my speeches, I always get them butterflies in my stomach.
What's it feel like right now? To know that you're reaching people right now.
I'm actually excited. I mean, I'm grateful for the opportunity, because when I was in prison, like I say, I ride hard on, if you prepare today, you'll own your tomorrow. I mean, some people may call it crazy, but I used to stand in the mirror in my cell and actually, like I was doing interviews, like I was speaking to people.
That you were actually being interviewed, talking about
my
but you were out.
Yes, no pun intended. Seriously, all seriously, like I was my audience, and I get myself excited about it, and
now you're doing it.
Now I'm doing it.
You're going to keep doing it, aren't you?
Absolutely, absolutely.
When the book gets published, would you allow us to be one of the places on your book tour? Will you come and promote it?
Sure, why not? The name of the book is I'm a Survivor.
I'm a Survivor.
I'm a Survivor.
You are. And I have a feeling you're going to help a lot of other people have a chance to survive. We appreciate you being with us.
Appreciate being here.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Stay right there. Okay. This is one-on-one. We'll be right back right after this. Thank you.